Hi, everybody. Hello, everyone in the studio, everyone out there in Cougar Nation. Hello and good evening once again. Thanks for joining us. It is our season finale somehow already of BYU football with Kalani Sitake. We are live and on demand via the BYUtv and BYU radio apps and, of course, on ESPN+. Coming up on this, our final show of this season. We'll look briefly back at a setback in the Valley of the Sun, highlight some good things from BYU that came out of that game. We'll get the latest college football playoff rankings as well. BYU linebacker Isaiah Glasker will join us inside the film room. Deep Blue will profile our punter Sam Vanderhaar. We'll be joined by, well, a lot of seniors. It is senior night, senior week, and a bunch of them will join us on the program. We'll have Q&A with Kalani and those seniors, BYU football trivia, and as the kids say, a fit check for BYU's regular season finale. All right, let's get tonight's show on the road by welcoming back in the man who has helped fill this room for the last 12 weeks of broadcast. He's, of course, the head coach of your 9-2 BYU Cougars, Kalani Sitake.
Thank you, Hazel.
There we go.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
There we go. Oh, I love the standing ovation. Thank you, folks.
That was nice. Thanks, guys.
And Hazel Haymuli. Thank you, our lay girl, Hazel, doing what she does so well. She's fantastic. I like Tuesdays because they get me fired up for the next Saturday.
Let's go. Especially happy Thanksgiving, everybody. This
happy
is awesome.
Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Yes, it is holiday week and good vibes here in the studio. And you're looking to bounce back again here. Let's go.
Yeah, I mean, obviously not the result we wanted last weekend, but proud of the boys. I thought they fought back from some adversity and in a hostile area, but we had a lot of fans there too that were cheering us on, and it was just came up short. I mean, we've had these nail biters. You know, some of them worked out in our favor, and this one didn't. So, you know, hopefully we get back to the boring wins. That would be nice, you know. But I'm just so proud of the players and proud of our fans, and I thought they represented well. And you know, this is the fun of being in a conference, especially a power conference like the Big 12. And we're still in a good position. They've earned that right with the first 9 games, and so we need some things to work out in our favor. But the goals are still there that our players set out for. The seniors that you're going to meet tonight, a lot of them, that's the goal that they set out for. It's still achievable, so we got to keep it rolling.
You called what happened on the weekend a hostile environment. There was some hostility, especially at the end. What a chaotic end of that game we saw. Yeah,
I mean, there's a lot of people excited, for what they thought was the win. There's still 1 more second left, and I don't blame them, but it didn't. I don't think any of us felt threatened or anything like that. It was just not a lot of nice things being said, but eventually they couldn't really go anywhere. What are they going to do? We're standing right next to each other, and I think we heard some kind things after everybody caught their breath and was able to say, "Okay, coach." I just heard some really positive things even after it settled down a little bit. There's nothing wrong with fans being passionate about their team. I've been part of some really cool storming the fields with Cougar Nation, and that one was obviously not my favorite one, but you can't deny that college football is a lot of fun, and we had a shot towards the end, just didn't work out, and we just got to keep getting better and find ways to learn from it. But there's nothing wrong with being proud of the way they played and the way they fought back. I'm really proud of our team.
One thing the college football playoff has done is increase the amount of attention that goes to so many more games now, so much so that you're going to be scoreboard watching on Saturday. You got to take care of business, and that happens Saturday night. But before that and during the evening, there's going to be some things that do have an impact on what's going to happen for BYU.
Yeah, and we can control what we control, which is play the game Saturday the best we can and try to put ourselves in a position to get a victory. That's what we got to do, and do it for the seniors. So there's a lot to play for. Obviously, some things have to work out in our favor for us to play in the championship game. We know that, but we get to play the game again. What we do know is that we've earned the right to extend the season. Now, how it looks, that'll be decided on Saturday, but we can definitely. I've been a senior and played in LaVell Edwards Stadium for my last senior game, and that you remember that for the rest of your life. And so I just wanted to make sure these guys have a good experience, and that it's our last time to get all all the people in Provo to have some fun, and it's at 8:15, so it makes sense. Might as well finish it the way that we started it, and let's get this thing rolling. I'm excited about the team and excited about the opportunities, and excited that the fans get to be there and make some noise for us.
You and the boys and all of Cougar Nation, we are Wildcat fans on Saturday, the Kansas State Wildcats and the Arizona Wildcats.
Let's go Wildcats, man. Let's make it happen.
And just before we head to the recap, it is senior week. Caps on senior night here, and you've alluded to the last game feeling you got to experience, and we talk about this every year, and it's a little different nowadays in the portal era. And sometimes the senior isn't a senior, or he might be, and it's a little different, but there's still a lot of similar feelings that come up every time at this year.
I mean, obviously we'd love for the seniors that have another year to come back, but it's important that we give them the proper send-off and play our best. I mean, I don't think we need to be so focused on winning as much as just preparing to play our best, and it all worked out the way it's supposed to. I should go back to when I played, and it was interesting because that was when the first time it was announced that it's LaVell Edwards Stadium. Was my senior game, and I just remember, like I said, you've heard me say this before. I just remember everyone kind of expected that except for LaVell and Patty, and they were so shocked, and I'm sitting there going, these people are amazing, just great example of humility, and I'm glad that I was able to win my last game at home and have it being named LaVell Edwards Stadium, and that we opened up LaVell Edwards Stadium with a win. So let's close 2024 with the same approach. But man, just for me, I get to see that name on the stadium. It just reminds me of LaVell and his family, and how grateful I am for him and BYU football in my life.
I think it was New Mexico in town that day, wasn't it?
Yep, it was. Yeah.
So a red team was in town that day. A red team is in town this time for senior night as well. Before you look ahead to senior night and the Houston game on the weekend, let's revisit briefly BYU's last game this past Saturday in Tempe. BYU visiting Arizona State for the first time in almost 30 years. We're going to review the top player performances in this game presented by Waystar. And we're going to start with the quarterback, Jake Retzlaff. Jake Retzlaff in this game, a career high against an FBS opponent, 2 yards shy of his overall career high, but against an FBS foe, 346 passing yards, a new high for him against FBS. He's now accounted for 30 career touchdowns, 23 passing and 7 rushing. He's now 21st and moving up in the all-time BYU total offense yardage list as well. I thought Jake played well.
Did great, and I mean, there's some plays that he'd love to have back, but just proud of the way he played the game, and just the it's everybody's hurting a little bit right now, and he's no different. But I think for him to perform the way he did, especially the way we didn't start off the right way. I think we obviously came down and we're down 21-0 before you can even think, and then next thing you know, we're trying to mount a comeback, and that's a huge part of his leadership and his belief in the team. And we just got to keep growing. Let's learn a lot from this game that didn't work out in our favor, and try to make sure that we play a lot better this weekend. But that's my job as head coach, to make sure that we come out and we start from the very beginning and don't have to play catch up. I'd like to not dig a hole for ourselves to begin with. So let's get that done, and then that's my responsibility as head coach, to get them ready.
When the tempo picked up, the offense picked up, and you've been a really great, let's call it 2-minute, but if you're in 2-minute mode, meaning you're hurrying up, you've been really effective all year.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of things that we've done really well, and let's just do that from the beginning, from the first second all the way to the end, and that's the goal, and that's kind of the challenge that I've given to the offense, and so I'm looking forward to being entertained this weekend.
Let's take a look at an entertaining player from this past Saturday, number 17, Keelan Marion. Keelan in this game had 2 rushing touchdowns. These were his first 2 rushing touchdowns of the season, as it turned out. He also added 36 yards on 6 receptions. For the season, Keelan is 3rd in BYU catches and receiving yards. He also has, of course, 2 kickoff return touchdowns. This is one of his 2 rushing scores. He also scored on a jet sweep a little later on in the game. We'll see that coming up in a bit. Keelan played an excellent game.
Yeah, it's super smooth. Just the way he sets up his blocks. It works on kickoff return. It works on offense. He's really come along, especially with the wide receiving core, and he's starting to find his place a little bit more. And I know Fessy trusts him, with running the routes and doing a lot of different things, getting the ball a fly sweep, but also catching and then a lot of things that no one really talks about are the receivers and they're blocking downfield. He's one of the guys that leads the way in that part of the game.
Let's shout out the BYU defense now. Like the offense, maybe a slow start, but they picked up steam as the game went along. And Isaiah Glasker was among the best players on the field for BYU. 12 tackles on the day. He's now second in tackles on the season. Leads BYU in TFLs, 12 and a half tackles for loss on the year. Has multiple sacks, multiple picks, multiple passes broken up, multiple hurries on the year. He's the definition of an impact player.
Oh yeah, and it's just, I mean, look at his size. I mean, he's being 6'5" and 235 pounds, and then to be able to run like that, I think everybody remembers him leading the way on Parker's punt return against Kansas State, and just the amount of speed that he has. I mean, he's a big-time player, and we need to just keep finding ways to get him in the backfield. And I mean, we could blitz him, but you don't want to blitz him if he can cover so well. And he can cover receivers, cover tight ends. He's a mismatch on the field in our favor. So defensively, I like the way Jay and Justin and the rest of the staff are using him. So he can do a lot of different things. But I know if you talk to him, he'll give a lot of credit to the rest of the other 10 guys on the field. And it just happens that he's in the position to make a lot of plays, especially this last weekend.
Making plays for a BYU defense that is among the best nationally statistically. Speaking of stats, let's look at some of the key stats from the game on Saturday. They're presented by Smarty. BYU does fall in a heartbreaker in this one. The final score is 28-23. BYU ended up outgaining ASU on the day. You see the big passing day and such a good second half. In fact, the possession time was about minus 10 minutes, but you didn't need the clock a lot in your favor in the second half as you piled up the yards and the points.
Yeah, the hard part was just getting out of downs and getting off of drives with the defense. ASU was committed to just trying to grind the clock out, and I think we only had 4 possessions in the second half for offense.
4 in each half, yeah. Another 8 possession game, basically.
So, we just got to find ways to get more possessions and defensively get more turnovers and create some havoc so we can get the ball back to our offense. And it wouldn't hurt if our defense could score too, which they've done before, and then the special teams can set it up. So I know I'm wishing for a lot of things right now, but these guys can do it, and I'm just looking forward to them getting better. We had a great practice this week. Last week was a great practice week as well, and I think that should carry over to this game.
You mentioned the number of possessions. In your first 8 seasons, you had only 1 game with 8 possessions. Now you've had back-to-back weeks, and that's sometimes the way this thing goes with the new clock rules and teams that want to get to the end. Yeah,
and that's why it has to be really efficient, and you can't really waste downs or possessions, and so you got to take advantage of every one that you get, especially when you get in the red zone. You got to find ways to score, and but you know, I think there's a lot of different ways to speed up the game a little bit, and we can definitely do that in all 3 phases.
To be fair, a couple of bad bounces took possessions away from BYU too. A punt off a helmet one week, and then the squib kick off a guy's leg the next week. So it happens that way sometimes too.